Okay. I was like, where'd it go? Oh my God. Here comes Mr. Raider. Lord, have mercy, Jesus. Ooh, keep me near the cross. I don't know who that is.
Oh. Hey, Ted. I can't hear you.
He's coming.
Hello.
Hi, Ted. How are you?
How's everybody?
Good.
Doing good.
Hi, Andy.
Yes.
You're on your
How you doing?
Andy.
Yes.
What did I put it?
You're on the iPhone?
Yes, I am.
Okay, cool. That's you.
I wrote up this whole list and I can't find it. That's not it.
Okay. Where'd Ted go? He left, he came back?
I guess we can use this.
Mayor, our Eagles didn't look too well yesterday, did they?
No, they did not. I was more excited about the Union than the Eagles yesterday.
I'm nervous about the Dallas game. I'm not feeling good about it.
Well, it is what it is. I've learned that a long time ago. I can't get upset about it anymore.
You're right. I think that's John Durrell calling. Hold for 1 second.
I lost my papers.
Hi, John. Okay.
Under that. So all we're waiting for is Brandon.
Mm-hmm.
But we could start, couldn't we?
Yeah, I don't know where Bill Kirshner is.
Farrah.
Yeah, Farrah. Tim is not coming, correct?
Right.
Brandon and Farrah.
Okay.
Here's Brandon. Here's Mr. Kirshner. Here's Farrah.
All right, Ted, you ready? Rita, you ready?
Wait 1 second.
All right.
Okay. Yep, I'm ready now.
All right, the regular council meeting of the Borough Council of the Borough of Palmyra is hereby called to order at 6:34. Roll call, please.
Mr. Almond?
Present.
Dr. Cloud?
Here.
Mrs. Jenkins?
Here.
Mrs. McCann?
Here.
Mrs. Russell?
Here.
President Howard? Mayor Tate?
Here. Thank you. May we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag
Allegiance to the flag of
Flag
the
of the
United
United States of
of America
America
and
and
to the republic
Republic for which
which
it
stands
stands,
one nation,
nation,
under
under
God,
God,
indivisible, with liberty and
liberty
justice
and
for
justice
all.
for all.
Thank you. In accordance with the Open Public Meeting Act, NJSA 10:4-6, and in consideration of the Executive Order number 103, issued by Governor Murphy on March 9, 2020, declaring a state of emergency and a public health emergency in the state of New Jersey. Please be advised that the Borough of Palmyra does hereby notify the public that to protect the health, safety, and welfare of our citizens and to reduce the potential spread of COVID-19 and its variants while ensuring the continued functioning of government, the meeting of the mayor and council will be conducted as a virtual council meeting. Members of the public are invited to attend the council meeting virtually via computer or phone, but all members of the public participating in the meeting virtually may be muted and their video image disabled. Notice of this meeting was published in the Burlington County Times on January 12th, 2021. Notice was posted on the municipal office bulletin board and the electrical signs on August 18th, 2021. Notice was also posted on the Borough of Palmyra website on September 17th, 2021, and notice was given to all council members. Approval of minutes. Are we able to do, yes, they do both of them. Yes, we are. Approval of minutes, August 16th, 2021. Has everybody had a chance to look them over? All right, any questions or corrections? Seeing none, may I have a motion to approve those minutes, please?
So moved to approve the minutes.
Second.
May I have a roll call, Rita, please?
Mr. Almond,
Yes.
Dr. Cloud,
Yes.
Mrs. Jenkins,
I'm here. Yes.
okay, Mrs. McCann,
Yes.
Mrs. Russell,
Yes.
thank you.
Thank you. Correspondence. Rita, did we get any correspondence?
I have a couple pieces of correspondence. One is the letter to Palmyra Borough OEM. Dear Mr. Dreby, we have reviewed your emergency operations plan and find that it meets our criteria for approval as of August 17th, 2021. We're pleased to give you our approval and appreciate the time and effort your staff have devoted to the development of this essential document. The plan should be updated by you at least annually, preferably during a scheduled meeting of your local emergency planning committee, and must be submitted to this office through channels for recertification by April 30th, 2025. Thank you for your interest and participation in emergency management, and that is Scott Pullion, Major Commanding Officer of the Emergency Management Section.
Can
The
I
next
say good job, Rick? Thank you.
Mhm.
Go ahead.
The next one is from Jean Palladino, who's the Planning Zoning Coordinator for Pennsauken Township. And that just, please accept this as notice that the Township of Pennsauken 2021 Master Plan Reexamination Report has been prepared and adopted by the Planning Board on July 27, 2021. The Planning Board Resolution P2021-08 adopting the 2021 Master Plan Reexamination Report, and said report can be obtained by request from the Township Clerk's Office located in Pennsauken Township Municipal Building in Pennsauken, New Jersey. The other piece is a letter.
Can I ask a quick question? And I don't know that Rita would necessarily, I was just kind of curious as to why that we received that. That's awesome. But I didn't know
Yeah.
if there was a significance, to tell you the truth.
You-
I didn't know.
You're a town that is bordering Pennsauken.
Adjacent.
Mhm.
True.
So they're
Okay.
required to notify us.
Okay, I didn't know if it was that simple or not. I just wanted to check. Thank you.
Mhm. Okay, and the last piece is a letter of resignation from Mr. Allen. And it says, to whom it may concern, I hereby resign my position with the Borough of Palmyra Public Works effective immediately. I apologize for any and all grief and inconvenience. Mark Allen.
Okay, now we need to just agree to accept that, correct?
That is correct, Your Honor.
Yeah.
May we have a overall agreement to accept that, please?
A motion.
Yes.
A
So-
motion to
I
accept that?
agree, a
So
motion.
move to, all right, so move to approve the correspondence, please.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you.
Great, thank you. Thank you, Rita. Redevelopment, John, is there any updates on the redevelopment of the Route 73 redevelopment area?
Well, Your Honor, that's a loaded question. As you know, there is quite a bit going on, as evidenced by Ted's 20-some bullet point email that I forwarded and is in your agenda packet and his accompanying memo to that effect. Most of what is happening, frankly, can't be discussed in open session because it's a matter of negotiations and or contractual matters. So we try to give you all of the information possible via email. A couple of high points, I think. We have been notified that the redeveloper is close to or has tentatively reached terms with the owner of the Phillip parcel, and settlement is scheduled for the not too distant future, which is very good news. We have pilots that we are finalizing for both for the affordable housing component and now for the second warehouse to be constructed on the Phillip property that have to be finalized. We have a meeting, Andrew, Ted, and I, and our financial consultant Wednesday morning to begin the finalization of those pilots, the final terms. The construction site, if you haven't been down there, you really need to get down there and take a look at it. It is completely different than what it was, even just a couple of weeks ago, and certainly several months ago, almost to the point where it's unrecognizable, frankly, the area. The project sign has been installed. That's right on Route 73 under the big sign that's there. They used to advertise the flea market. So, which is a nice added addition. Andrew and Ted, anything generally that you feel need to be included?
Your Honor, if I may,
Sure.
we are making progress with respect to the declaratory judgment action that Palmyra filed, wherein Fair Share Housing, representing the public interest, has submitted to us a proposal. Our professionals are in the process of reviewing that. It appears that that is a workable document. We will report the progress that we have made to date to the judge with respect to the environmental justice litigation that was filed by the New Jersey DEP versus Phillip. Progress is being made there also. The judge is aware that these things take time, and she has done, in my opinion, an excellent job of balancing the need to resolve the case with the interests of justice so that everyone who has an interest is being fairly represented. So on balance, very positive developments. I appreciate the help of Your Honor, counsel, and our professionals. We are getting there, although I must concede it's a monumental task, not because of personalities, just because of the complexity of the project.
Thank you.
John, you had asked for both. I think you guys both have given a complete summary of the Route 73.
Thank you, Andrew. About the outlaw training and fitness, John.
I'm going to
Wait.
defer to Andrew on that, if I may, Your Honor.
Thank you. We had, as you know, we had commenced some litigation because Outlaw had been in non-compliance. And everything I've been saying is the status, which is public record because it's been back and forth by their counsel. And then had a case management conference, really a status conference where the judge was going to consider signing an order to show cause and compel them to come in court and explain why they hadn't paid taxes or anything else. And there was, during that status conference, their counsel agreed to come completely current on the taxes and the escrow really a short time ago. Mr. Wade has come in and has now been, my understanding, very active in discussing things, has paid some of the taxes, has paid some of the escrow, and they have now committed in writing in coming completely current on the taxes and the escrow by the middle of October. And that, as John summarized, that will be put into writing. And I think that's everything's public, but that's they're going to be back on track. They're going to be, they have committed to become completely in compliance and hopefully then moving forward.
That's great. Thank you, Andy. About CBOC, Sean, any?
Nothing to report at all, Your Honor. You know, I see that zoning officer Tracy Kilmer is on. I know they had reached out once before with some questions about potential improvements to the property. Tracy, have you heard anything recently about CBOC's intention of the property?
No, I have not.
Thank you, Tracy.
Mm-hmm.
All right, thank you. Anything else for us, Andrew, in reference to redevelopment?
Redevelopment? Nope, I think that's a good summary.
All right, that's great. Then we'll go to Bill Kirshner.
Good evening, everyone.
Good
You
evening.
can all hear me, right? Okay. I had some trouble logging in. So, okay, I have a laundry list. I'll try to go through it as concisely as possible. Let's start with Temple Boulevard. Construction update. Last week, they were able to complete the sawing and sealing. I'm sure there's been some questions. I know I've received them as why we'd go saw cut a new roadway. And essentially, it's because underneath that new roadway are still large concrete slabs. Concrete is a rigid, moves basically as plates, and the asphalt over top is considered a flexible pavement. So it's kind of like a tablecloth on top of a table. And what happens is those tables next to each other shift and move around over time, mostly from changes in season thermal. The asphalt between the slabs would bunch up and make speed humps of sort, or bumps. That was a lot of the complaints we had from the residents when we were doing the original study. When traffic goes down those bumps, it's very noisy. So what we've done is we removed the concrete we could. We patched it in with asphalt paving, but then we overlaid the asphalt or the concrete out there with new asphalt. And we go back and we saw cut over top where the concrete joints are and put a sealant in there so those asphalt areas can move with the concrete and don't bunch up in the middle. It's a standard procedure. You might see it on larger roadways like 295 or Route 130, where it's common to have a concrete road underneath. So that was completed last week. The current schedule has them Wednesday conducting the striping out there, leaving only punch list work and the rapid flashing pedestrian crossing beacon that goes in at Delaware. On Temple Boulevard, you'll see a resolution in front of you this evening, Resolution 181. That is for a change order for work on Temple. A couple item of note, I brought this up under the previous change order. When we milled the roadway, there was more than 2 inches of asphalt in the center of the road over the concrete. Unfortunately, when the milling machine went down the road, the inch or so that was left broke free of the concrete and came up with the millings. So we had to add a leveling course down the center of the roadway to keep it crowned. Typical profile of a road, when you look at it, is high in the middle, so the water runs off to the gutters where it can be collected. So to put that back, we had to add a leveling course, which is the largest item of the change order. Was over the length of the road, it was almost 500 tons of asphalt, essentially an inch in the middle down to 0 on the ends, and that added about $50,000 to the job. Most of the other work was, additional curb here, additional sidewalk there, which is typical for the road programs we do in Palmyra. One other item of note, and this is a state law requirement. There is an asphalt and fuel price adjustment. At the time this was bid, about a year ago, asphalt and fuel prices were quite low because of COVID. At the time it's installed, actually the very day it's installed, we look at the price of the asphalt and fuel and we adjust the price up. That's about $20,000 of the change order. We don't have a say in that. It's state law. Any project that puts down more than 200 tons of asphalt has to include those requirements. So that is in there. All told, the change order is an increase of $96,000 or 10.27%. There are still a few items left to be completed, and I envision a final change order on the negative because the other item that I don't want to discuss too much, but we all know that we've discussed liquidated damages on this project going forward, so that should be reflected in the final change order when everything is complete. Regarding the other portions of the Temple Avenue project, I know I reported a couple months ago that everything's been submitted to DOT. We're waiting for them and the Federal Department of Transportation to give us the go-ahead for the intersection realignment there at Firth and Temple, which includes the pocket park and the underground drainage system. We were told that was complete in mid-August, and we'd hope to have direction to proceed within 60 days. To date, I've received nothing back from them. I did meet with Councilwoman Michelle McCann, and unfortunately, Dr. Cloud couldn't make our meeting, but we went over some of the aesthetic issues of the park with that subcommittee. So when we get our permission to proceed, we're in a good position to do so. And we do need to have a public meeting. It can be before a council meeting, maybe in October, as part of the federal requirements, just to explain that project a little more. On 5th and Race Street, we know that project is also behind, but the contractor looks to be making up some of the lost time. Originally, his schedule had him completing the work the end of next week. I envision he will complete all the work except maybe a few punch list items this week. The last 3 blocks, 2 blocks of Race between 4th and 6th, and the last block of 5th between Arch and Race were milled today. They should be base paved tomorrow, and they intend to top pave them on Wednesday, leaving only striping and signs and some cleanup work. Regarding the 2021 road program, which is New Jersey Avenue, as well as a bunch of other roads throughout the town, 2nd Street between Laconia and Firth, Madison between Market and Veterans, including the basketball court, the work on the dead end of Roland, and some work, concrete work solely on Charles, Hubs, and Park. They're just about finished the work on New Jersey. I think they issued the notices that they're going to 2nd Street at the end of last week, but I found out today they're actually going to do the miscellaneous concrete on Charles, Hubs, and Park this week, and then go over to 2nd Street. So that's proceeding fine. Thus far, I've seen no issues with that. And once they finish the work on Charles, Park, and Hubs, I'll reach out to New Jersey American, because then they can come in and do the milling and paving of those 3 streets. Also, regarding New Jersey American, I know they were finally able to make their interconnections at 2nd and Cinnaminson. I believe they're waiting for their bacteria tests. Then they can tie that main in, and then I'll try to get them in to pave the block of 2nd Street between Laconia and Cinnaminson also this fall. Regarding the borough ordinance revisions to the parking in the downtown, we're just about completed the sign inventory for all the existing parking in that area. Hope to get that over to the borough and the borough police the end of the week, so then we can start looking at what has to be changed to bring the current signage up to compliance with the new ordinance. Regarding Veterans Park, that was awarded. I checked on it today. We anticipate getting the contracts back from the contractor this week. He's a little behind. The one owner's daughter got married the other weekend, so that has him a little behind. But they should have the bonds together and have those contracts back to us this week. And then Tim will be reaching out to set up the pre-construction meeting for that. The last item I wanted to note, and it's on your agenda, resolution 193, is the award of the repair or the replacement HVAC unit for the rooftop at the community center. I put an extensive email together, basically getting into the different options for that, but essentially that unit has been troublesome, and based on the various contractors we've had out to check it, it's deemed not worth replacing. We had trouble obtaining prices to replace it. There's only 2 firms out there that make replacement units of that size. And the unit we ended up recommending is configured a little different than the unit that's there now, but it is much cheaper than the unit that would fit in perfect without reconfiguring. And when I say reconfiguring, imagine that the HVAC unit is a rectangular box with the ductwork that comes out the short side. The unit we ended up going with is a rectangular box with the ductwork comes out the long side. So we have to change the ductwork to make it match up appropriately. But even so, the difference in price, I think warrants the change in unit. It's $113,000 in change versus $154,000. So, well, that's my list in an expedited nutshell. I'll be happy to take any questions anyone may have.
Bill, I have a quick question on that last item that you were
Yes.
just mentioning for the community center.
Yes.
So with this change,
Yes.
can we get the parts going forward? Is this going to be a system that we're not going to be in the same situation? Because I understand, like, when things change and they don't make them anymore, I swear it's done on purpose, but that's just me.
Well, the unit we had previously was a McQuay. That's the brand name, and they made the other units that are in the building. McQuay still makes water source heat pumps, which is what that unit is. They just don't make them of this size anymore. Only the 2 manufacturers we located, or our contractor located, make units of this size. I did have a discussion with them about the maintenance requirements of both to make sure they were similar, compatible. And they said they are. There may only be, the only difference they think is the unit we picked may have 1 more air filter in it than the other unit. But for right now, at least, there's no guarantees, but for right now, at least, this unit is available. And John and I did discuss a couple of the contractors wanted to give us air source heat pump options. But that building specifically was designed with the ground source geothermal heat pump. And while HVAC is not my express specialty as an engineer, I know the cost difference in operating an air source heat pump versus the water source heat pump would be significant. So I think at least for right now, this is your best bet.
Yeah, having the water at home, I appreciate that. All right, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Anybody else have any questions? Seeing none, we'll keep going.
Your Honor, if I could interrupt real quick, and I apologize. There was one additional item for redevelopment, and before we lose Andrew, we had provided information about amending an ordinance by title tonight. The ordinance as it relates to authorizing changes be approved administratively on the redevelopment project, the Route 73 South redevelopment project. One of the limitations there, it specifically stated in the ordinance that number of parking spaces could not be amended or approved administratively. It's not we have a smaller building, fewer parking spaces, so we need to address that. And you may have seen my emails over the last couple of days about that. But Andrew can speak to that. We have the title for introduction tonight, but it's a very minor change to current ordinance, which I believe is 2021-05. Andrew or Ted, what did I miss there?
Nothing.
Sure. I don't think you missed anything. It's really, they redeveloper was gonna have to make some minor changes anyway previously, which is why this ordinance was put in place in the first place. Which this type of ordinance exists in some other municipalities, which allows some minor changes to site plans to be made without having to go back to the full board and to amend the site plan and give the whole notice and to just make things smaller or make minor changes. This just tweaks a little bit the language that we worked on. Kind of didn't foresee this specific issue, and probably wasn't. It was worded so any change, any decrease at all in the number of parking spaces would trigger the need for site plan. However, really the intention is that if you lowered the number of parking spaces below what would be required, then you should go. And so really all it is it is language to address that specific situation and kind of that gap. That's what it's done. And it will allow them to take into account the situation with the Eagle's Nest and other things to build an appropriately sized warehouse by just cutting it back and scaling it down a little bit currently without the need to go back for full site plan review.
Thank you. Does everybody understand that? Yep. Okay. Thank you. We were having a public hearing on the Route 130 Delaware River Corridor Municipal Self-Assessment Report.
Excuse me, 1 second. I'm sorry. Are we introducing that ordinance or we're not?
We will. I just figured we would
Okay.
do so when we get down to that part of the agenda for you.
Okay. I have forwarded all of you, all of council, and the self-assessment is up on our website. This is through the Route 130 corridor, along with Dave Gerkins. They did the latest Palmyra self-assessment, and all we needed to do was read and make sure that everything was all right. I found a couple errors. I did call them and to correct it, like they had Riverton students going to Cinnaminson. I told them it was Palmyra. They had Charles Street up to 6th grade. I told them it was 5th grade. So there were a couple minor things that needed to be changed. He is changing that in their records, but we had to put it out to council to see if they had any type of questions in reference to the self-assessment. No questions? Nope, that's good. Okay, so we're gonna do that resolution alone so we can, because we have to send it off to the state stating that we did it, so it can just be that. It's resolution 2021-195. It's a resolution of the Borough of Palmyra, County of Burlington, State of New Jersey, statement on intent to pursue plan endorsements and authorize to submit the municipal self-assessment report in the New Jersey State Office of Planning Advocacy. May I have a motion to approve, please?
So moved.
Second,
May I have a roll call, please?
Mr. Almond,
Yes.
Dr. Cloud,
Yes.
Mrs. Jenkins,
Yes.
Mrs. McCann,
Yes.
Mrs. Russell?
yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I also wanted to let you know, the committee that I assigned a month and a half ago also has looked at that. I've given each one of them a set of the assessments. Public comment. We request those participants wishing to have or make a public comment, email the questions or comments in advance to Municipal Clerk Rita Jackson at djackson@boroughofpalmyra.com. The opportunity to submit comments prior to the meeting expired at 12 p.m. on Monday, September 20th, 2021. All comments will become part of the record and included with the meeting minutes. For those attending the virtual meeting, I will open the meeting to the public for comments. Comments should be limited to no more than 2 minutes. All comments will be part of the record and included in the meeting minutes. May I have a motion to open to the public, please?
So moved to open the public.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Thank you. Rita, did we receive any comments?
I did not receive any comment.
Okay, we are open to the public. Anyone wishing to say?
Yeah,
Any-
yes, I'm here. My name is Valerie Still. I own my house on Veterans Drive since 1991. First, I want to send out pure positive power thoughts to all those hit by Hurricane Ida, especially those hitting the Northeast, including New Jersey at this beginning of September. I noticed that the Borough of Palmyra posted warnings on the website before that storm arrived. But I noticed that you all hadn't posted anything before the storm on July 12th that we had that devastated me and my neighbors. I'm not sure if you all know this, but the residents in the village of West Palmyra that were hit by the rainstorm on July 12th, 21 are now experiencing PTSD. Every time it begins to rain, there's a strong feeling that our houses are going to be flooded again. And like it did on July 12th, because we really haven't gotten any answers as to why our backyards and basements flooded. And it's not because the properties are on a floodplain. I know we've been given that as an excuse as well. I know it may sound crazy to you all, but this is real. We need to get answers as to knowing exactly why our properties were flooded. Gina Tate still hasn't answered the situation, has addressed the situation at all. And John Corral stated that all the drains were checked that day of the storm, even though you all didn't expect the storm to be so bad. So in fact, there was no warnings posted on the Borough of Palmyra's website the day of the storm or before the storm, July 12th. And it wasn't a 100-year storm as well. I'm going to limit my time because I know I got 2 minutes. I'm just going to give a couple of questions. I'm hoping that I can get some answers because usually I have a ton of things that I've been saying, really not getting anywhere with this, but we're just going to continue on. First is, has anyone from the Borough of Palmyra come to check on the residents of Veterans Drive that were devastated by the storms on July 12th? I know Gina's been over to the village of West Palmyra a few times since the storm. Never stopped in to check on the residents there. I don't know why, when it was apparently a disaster area. I know you were at the cat rescue place, which is right across the street from where this all happened. So I'm not sure if it's not a concern or whatever, but that's one question. I'm just going to give three questions. I know I got 2 minutes. Why didn't our backyards and basements flood after the real 100-year storm? That was the one at the beginning of September that Hurricane Ida sent on us, which that storm dropped rain for 3 days. We saw tornadoes, heavy winds, and heavy flooding in Philadelphia, the Delaware River, and some places in Palmyra as well, but no flooding on our properties. Can someone explain that to me as well? And then thirdly, who classified this storm on July 12th, 2021 as a 100-year storm? Why was it classified that way? Why do you need to keep misinforming the public? I know it's even the public are saying that it was a 100-year storm. It was never declared a disaster. So we're still not able to get any kind of federal funding. So the damages are fully our responsibility. So we need those. I know I only got 2 minutes. So those 3 questions right there, and I'll be back the next meeting. Thank you.
Mayor,
I'm sorry, Ted, you go ahead. I just wanted to respond super quick.
Mayor,
Just
But I
only
think
because
you
my
need to
experience,
speak-
but
let
Ted, go
speak,
ahead.
Please.
No, I'm deferring to Ted first.
Okay, thank you.
I don't know this to be true, but I was led to believe that Ms. Still has threatened litigation against the borough.
No threat.
I'm sorry?
That's no threat. Why are you saying threat? Why do you always come at it that way? It's not a threat. I have a right as a United States citizen for legal action. It's not a threat.
Ms. Still, I didn't interrupt you, did I?
Yeah, but you always come at me personally. The last time you said I was causing the meeting to be unrefined. You might not see it that way, but that's the way you're coming at me. And now you're talking about a threat. I'm not threatening you. So reframe. I didn't threaten you.
Ms. Still, I didn't say that you threatened me.
You just said that.
No,
Not me.
Valerie.
You didn't threaten to sue me.
You said I'm okay. Okay, semantics. You just said threat. You didn't use the word threat.
No, I did use the word.
Okay.
I said that I understood that in social media that you threatened to sue the borough, and you have every right to sue the borough.
I've said that during these meetings.
Ma'am, is there a reason why you must interrupt me?
Because you've been pretty rude to me, so I want to just make
Val.
sure you get it straightened out, since
Okay.
you have this way of coming at me like that, and it
Well,
did go with the
Valerie.
refine.
I certainly apologize if you interpret
Okay,
my communication to you as disrespectful. That is not my intention. Simply, I was going to say to the governing body, you have every legal right to address any concern that Ms. Still advances. No one is telling you not to. However, you have every legal right not to address Ms. Still's concerns. And if there is a potential for litigation, you may independently make a decision whether you wish to or whether you wish not to address Ms. Still's concerns. So, having laid that out, it is entirely up to each and every member of the governing body, whether they tonight, in the future, wish to address Ms. Still's concerns. Thank you.
The
Thank
only
you,
thing
Ken.
that I was going to say is based on the Ida storm. I was not home on the other storm. My daughter was here. But we were impacted personally by the Ida storm with water. And I know that Valerie had reached out to the town. I know that we reached out to our insurance company for direction first, not to the town, because we were impacted by Ida personally. I don't know how many others in town were impacted by Ida. I know there were a few that I have spoken to personally. So I'm just not sure as to what the goal is here, but I can say that as a homeowner in town, independent, whether I'm, a part of council or not, impacted by Ida. We had the adjuster out here just the other day and that's the avenue that I thought, and maybe I'm mistaken, so please correct me.
how many feet of water did you have in your basement? Was your drain, your storm drain also clogged that day?
Again,
Bernadette Russell, since
I'm just responding to what I did and what
how many feet of water did you have in your basement,
Okay.
in your backyard?
It wasn't in our backyard. It was in our home, in our
Oh,
basement.
okay.
It was in our basement.
Mhm.
So I don't know the difference, but as it was explained, it was as a result of the water table.
Was
We
it
had
4
had-
feet? Was it 3 feet? Was it 2
Val,
inches?
it doesn't matter. We were
Yes,
impacted.
it doesn't
Valerie,
matter.
enough. That's
It
enough.
doesn't.
That's
That
not
is
what
enough.
Val,
That
you
is enough.
So Gina, you just get like assertive
Valerie,
all
I'm
of a
speaking.
sudden when,
Valerie,
that's enough. It's not enough. We were
Well, but
impacted
you don't need to
before
go
your
at
neighbors.
Bernadette's
You're-
talking to you.
I'm
I'm,
asking her how
monopolizing
many
with you.
feet of, all I asked her
Oh,
was
it
but
how
why?
many feet
doesn't,
of water?
it
How many
doesn't,
feet of water?
what I'm saying, and I'm not saying to you that what happened to you doesn't matter. I'm saying the amount of water doesn't matter. The amount of water that came into my house was enough to do damage to what we had in our basement. So I'm not going to sit here and go, well, they haven't finished with the estimate yet. We're not done. We're just in the middle of it. It's not fair to come at somebody like that. Number two, all I can say is what I do personally, because I know with the storms that we have by our house, 5 drains, and I go out and I clean. I literally am. I think John can attest to this, because one time he told me you better get back in that house because it's lightning is close. I will go out and pull the leaves out of the drain because I am concerned. I see how much stuff comes down and how quickly the drains fill up with not just water, but with debris. So my question back to you would be, I don't understand why you were coming to the borough first. And I'm asking this legitimately because it wasn't my first thought. This wasn't our first rain impact. We haven't had one in probably 12 years, 10 to 12 years. I would have to check my records for the other date that poured into our basement where we lost so much. But I can promise you my first thought wasn't to call the borough. My first thought was to call my insurance company. All right, what do we need to do? And
Bernadette, and And
And
I'm
that's what I'm
doing,
saying.
that's it. I haven't asked for anything. I just want answers as to why that, and yeah, you clean that drain. I'm not even going, but you won't specify how much water you got in your basement. I mean, it's one thing having a couple inches and it's another thing having 4.
We do understand, Valerie, that you've received a lot of water and it's a shame and we apologize, but there's nothing that the borough can do for that loss. But anybody else wish to have a public comment?
Wow.
Seeing none, may I have a motion to close to the public?
So moved to close to the public.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Thank you. Okay, ordinance on first reading. Oh, no, that's going next week, next meeting, correct? That's the,
No,
no, okay, nope, I'm sorry. Ordinance on first reading is 2021-13. Is an ordinance of the Borough of Palmyra, County of Burlington, State of New Jersey, amending ordinance 2020-10 to provide for and determine the rates and ranges of compensation for each employee and officer of the Borough of Palmyra in years 2021 and 2022. Council, do we have any questions in reference to that? That was in your packet. Okay, may I have a motion to approve the ordinance, please, on first reading?
So moved.
Second.
May I have a roll call, please?
Mr. Almond,
Yes.
Dr. Cloud,
Yes.
Mrs. Jenkins,
Yes.
Mrs. McCann,
Yes.
Mrs. Russell?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Resolutions, resolution 2021-179.
Your Honor, I'm sorry. Before you go on, we do have the other ordinance for introduction. That would be 2021-14. This is the one Andrew and I and Ted were referring to. It would be an ordinance amending ordinance 2021-05 concerning administrative review and approval of minor modifications and or field changes to previously approved site plans. That would be for introduction by title with a public hearing and to be held on October 18th.
Okay, what John said. May I have a motion, please?
So moved on what John said.
Second.
I don't have that in front of me.
I got you. I got some of it
May I
written
have a
down,
roll
not
call?
all of it.
Mr. Almond,
Yes.
Dr. Cloud,
Yes.
Mrs. Jenkins,
Yes.
Mrs. McCann,
Yes.
Mrs. Russell?
Yes.
Thank you.
I just found it, John. Thank you. I'm sorry.
No problem.
It's stashed underneath other resolutions. Resolution 2021-179 through 2021-194 will be enacted as a single motion. If any resolutions need additional discussion, it will be removed from the consent agreement and voted on separately. Does there need to be any removed? Am I allowed to request one to be removed?
Yes.
Of course.
Okay. I would like 2021-182 to be discussed separately, please. Okay, here we go. Resolution 2021-179, awarding a contract to A+ Construction, Inc. for the Lincoln Park, from Lincoln Park, New Jersey, per the bid proposal dated 5/22/21 in the total amount of $23,100 for the rehab project PLRCAESC 296R pursuant to CGP&H and CFO's review and approval. 2021-180 is a resolution authorizing the cancellation of outstanding checks from the Borough of Palmyra General Capital Account and the current fund account. Resolutions 2021-181 is a resolution awarding change order number 2 to Think Pavers Hardscaping LLC for the Temple Boulevard Improvement Project with the increased amount of $96,095.59 from the original base price of $937,602, making the new adjustment contract price at $1,033,697.59 per Environmental Resolutions, Inc., requested date August 23rd, 21. Resolution 2021-183 is a resolution requesting approval of the items of revenue and appropriations N.J.S.A 40A semicolon 4-87, Chapter 159, American Rescue Plan Public Health Expenditure category in the amount of $113,334. Resolution 2021-184 is a resolution of the Borough of Palmyra, County of Burlington, authorizing a lien be placed on Block 48, Lot 12, for the failure to comply with the obnoxious growth and property maintenance violations. Resolution 2021-185 is a resolution of the Borough of Palmyra, County of Burlington, authorizing a lien be placed on Block 87, Lot 16, for failure to comply with obnoxious growth and property maintenance violations. Resolution 2021-186 is a resolution of the Borough of Palmyra, County of Burlington, authorizing a lien be placed on Block 13, Lot 11, for failure to comply with obnoxious growth and property maintenance violations. Resolution 2021-187 is a resolution of the Borough of Palmyra, County of Burlington, authorizing a lien be placed on Block 120, Lot 4.01 for failure to comply with obnoxious growth and property maintenance violations. Resolution 2021-188 is a resolution of the Borough of Palmyra, County of Burlington, authorizing a lien be placed on Block 126, Lot 12 for failure to comply with obnoxious growth and property maintenance violations. Resolution 2021-189 is a resolution approving Dominic A. Belton as an active member of the Palmyra Fire Department. Resolution 2021-190 is a resolution appointing Amanda Schwartz, full-time finance payroll accounts payable clerk at the rate of $17 per hour, and appointing Amanda Schwartz as deputy registrar with an annual stipends of $1,200 effective August 13th, 2021. Resolution 2021-191 is a resolution appointing Linda Yancic as senior tax clerk at the rate of $17.50 per hour and shade tree secretary with an annual stipends of $1,200 effective August 13th, 2021. Resolution 2021-192 is a resolution authorizing a refund of various tax overpayments. 2021-193 is a resolution of the Borough of Palmyra, County of Burlington, State of New Jersey, authorizing the emergency purchase of replacement ion 30-ton rooftop water source heat pump, including all necessary piping, ductwork, and electrical requirements for the community center gymnasium from Air Systems Maintenance in the amount of $113,334 per proposed date August 3rd, 2021, pursuant to and in accordance with N.J.S.A.40A semicolon 11-6. Resolution 2021-194 is a resolution authorizing the payment of September's 2021 bills in the amount of $2,541,032.69. May I have a motion for the consent agreement, please?
So moved to approve the consent agreement.
Second.
May I have a roll call, please?
Mr. Almond,
Yes.
Dr. Cloud,
Yes.
Mrs. Jenkins,
Yes.
Mrs. McCann,
Yes.
Mrs. Russell.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Resolution 2021-182 is a resolution authorizing a capital purchase exceeding $15,000 of a 2021 Ford Expedition with additional equipment in the total amount of $47,854.22. Under New Jersey State Contract Number 20-Fleet-01189 and the New Jersey State Contract Number 17-Fleet-00719 per quote from Winners Ford of Cherry Hill, New Jersey. The reason I had this pulled is because I know some of you at budget had questions in reference to that. And I didn't think that you realized that it was in there. Does anybody have questions in reference to that? No, it's
Well,
all-
thanks. I did forget. So thank you for reminding us of that because that seemed to me, that it was a lot. So I do remember us talking about that.
Okay, now are we going
I'm
to give,
just picking a brain cell, so I've got to remember like the context with which that was in myself. I can't speak for anyone else, but I know the conversation was along the lines of the amount and comparing it to the rest of our fleet that we already had.
well, this is for the fire department.
Oh, wait a minute. Did I misread?
Am I correct?
Mhm.
Oh,
It's-
all right.
This was for the fire department.
This is a vehicle to replace the deputy fire chief's vehicle that had, that had been requested for several years in a row now.
Now I remember. Yep.
Is there any questions that anybody needs to ask?
Hello. Hi.
Yes,
Actually, I don't recall us, I remember mentioning it, but I don't recall us talking in depth in regards to going ahead to get it. Is it possible? I mean, I'm very sure that we did. My memory is not bringing it up at this time. Can we push this to the next meeting to give me the opportunity to check it out further?
are we able to do that, Rita?
The governing body can do whatever they choose to do, but I can tell you that in the body of the resolution, if you read it, that what was budgeted, it exceeds the budget by like $4,000, but they're taking that money from just a regular line item that they have. So that's how they're paying for it, but it was approved in the budget. It was accounted for in the budget.
That's right. That's an important distinction.
It's
Right.
We include, and I hate to use, and I admonish other people like staff for using this terminology, but in the old days, we used to refer to the capital purchases as the wish list, right? Quote unquote, right? It's a horrible way to phrase it, but that helps kind of sort of explain the process, right? So the various department heads, they include all of their capital requests. You review that during the budget process. And I always tell you during that process that you still get another bite at that apple down the road, right?
Correct.
So just because you approve it during the budget process does not mean that it's been fully authorized or you give your full approval for that purchase. Because every capital, you still have the ordinance that has to be introduced and adopted, and they are, and this item is included there. But because the purchase exceeds $15,000, it also needs this one additional step before it can actually be purchased. So there's multiple steps in capital projects and purchases, and an item can be pulled or whatever the case at any point along that way. So
thank you so much for that, John, because now that sounds more like the last how the last conversation went that we had in regards to that line item.
Right, so we would like to place it on October 4th meeting?
If you can, that would be wonderful. That would just give, our committee a chance to review that further.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Rita?
Got it.
Okay, thank you. All right, let's go. Motion to approve the treasurer's report for August 2021.
I send that
So
to you.
moved.
I have to, for my board to upload my vaccination statement.
And may I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Public events, the neighbor to neighbor, I didn't get to do any in the last 2-3 weeks because of the rain or the heat. Palmyra Market, they haven't came back and said what they were doing yet. We will let anybody know and put it up on our website once we know what's going on there. The townwide yard sale, September 18th, that went well. I saw a lot of cars around town, Bernadette.
I am so amazed. We had over 100 participants. I just want to do a special shout out, one to Tangi, because she took a huge thing off my plate by creating the map, and she did it by zones as well. So it just made life, like, even just putting the signs out, she is amazing. I also want to say thank you to Jeannie Klein, because she was my town crier. She made sure everybody in Wawa knew that this was coming. So I credit her to the number. I also want to thank Moon for collecting signs for me, and Linda Yancic for also helping coordinate the addresses and the information that came in through the yard sale site that we had set up. The one request I did have, and I don't know how council feels about this, knowing that Riverton has their treasure in May, I actually had several people ask me if this is something that we would look at doing biannually. So whether it's in the early spring too, just a thought, because when people are wintertime, they're cleaning out stuff. And I know with COVID, people did a lot of cleaning out. There was a lot of good treasures out there. So I don't know if council would want to look at that, depending on how things roll going forward. So just an
Okay.
idea for 2022.
Thank you. Well, great job. And I did want to thank Tangi again, because I know she worked very hard on that, and Linda. The Halloween parade, as far as we understand, it's still going. Now there was one thing that in collaboration with the Halloween Parade Committee and I believe the PIA, they wanted to do the scarecrow contest again, to put the scarecrows up on the light poles. Does anybody have a problem with that?
Not at
No?
all.
All right, I will tell them yes.
And Gina, when you said still going, are you talking about, so I had a couple people asking me, is it going to be like the big parade on Broad Street / River Road, or are we talking about how it went up and down the streets?
We were holding on to the numbers. It's going to all depend on the numbers, Bernadette.
Gotcha. Okay.
Because if they keep as high as they are now, I can't see it going down Broad Street.
Gotcha.
But that
I
doesn't
respect.
mean. So we're going to see what we can do to celebrate Halloween like the town does. But we don't want to put anybody in harm's
In
way.
jeopardy, sure.
Especially since it's the little kids that would be out there, and they're not the ones that are vaccinated.
Right.
So it's a fine line that we're walking. Bell Hall staffing reopening to the public. Legion Field Community Center, council meetings, COVID-19. I'll start this off, John. We have closed Borough Hall last Wednesday because our numbers are high. Well, higher than they were. And I can't see jeopardizing some of the people, our workers, in reference to that. But the Legion Field is open. I know there are soccer games going on over there. It is outside. Go at your own risk. The community center is not open because we have the HAVC problem, but it is being used every Tuesday for our COVID shots by the county. And we had one new is that October 14th, they will be giving out flu shots at the community center. They only use the vestibule, so they're not using the whole building. Is there anything that I forgot about that, John?
No, Your Honor, nothing at all. I think you got everything.
Okay, proposed mandatory COVID-19 vaccines for borough staff.
You know, Your Honor, we did just receive a, information from the FOP Police Association today, which I frankly have not had a chance to review, and I haven't spoken to our attorney. So, we're still on hold there probably until the next meeting.
Okay, community center, HVAC, we discussed that. Palmyra Improvement Association request for facility usage. Rita?
Yeah, the application is in your packets. There's a number of things they've requested in regards to usage. I know the bathrooms are up because the center is closed. I mean, the borough's closed. I don't know quite how you want to handle that request.
Okay, now, would we be willing to, just like with the farmer's market, that if they had somebody every 2 hours going in to clean them?
If you read what she said, she wanted us to provide that.
Oh, then I will discuss it with them. Well, but when is this for? I didn't see this.
What date is that for?
Is it for the trunk or treat?
Yes, it's for the trunk or treat.
Okay, so we have a little bit of time. I will speak to them in reference to that.
Yeah, and I also, I don't know how things, well, we haven't had any of you respond to that yet, to the ad for the person to clean the restrooms down at the center. I mean, down at the field.
Right.
Because another thought, strictly mine, in regards to if we got that person down there, they may want to contemplate going down to the little parking lot down at the end and doing the entire trunk or treat down there. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Just a thought. They could do it in the parking lot, right down the end. The thing is, but that's another thing, but I don't know.
Okay.
So is it right now, it had been at Santander in the past? Is that where they were still happening? Or were they?
The last one.
I missed.
The last one was, I'm sorry, Bernadette, the last one was in Little Broad.
Yeah, the whole diagram and everything is in your packet.
Yeah, I'm just trying to remember what it, physically where it was, that's all. And I was going on memory versus what I saw in the packet, so sorry.
The first one was at Santander. The ones after that were at along the community center.
Yeah, and I forgot that, sorry.
Yeah, it was on Little Broad in front of the community center. And they had to go through a barrier right before the parking lot of the Borough Hall.
So the idea of it being at the other parking lot, then they're closer to those bathrooms versus being by the community center. And you're talking about then, Rita, the bathrooms in Legion? Okay, that sounds like a good compromise.
This is October 22nd with the rain date of October 23rd.
Right.
So what do you want to do with that?
I'll get in touch with them and we can approve it on the 4th.
Okay, hold it off to the 4th.
Sound good?
All right.
Your Honor, while you're having that discussion, we still don't have the ability to clean restrooms during the event, right? We don't have staff working after hours.
Right.
And we also are more short-staffed now, given some things that we learned earlier today that I'm not at liberty to, discuss. But we don't have the staff to work at night.
That's true.
Okay. I do understand. Yep. Okay, the Palmyra senior request for the use of the community center.
That was in a conversation. Marva reached out to me all the way from Georgia. So Marva's still running the seniors program here remotely, apparently, from 1,000 miles away.
Good for her.
You know, good for her. You know, just as looking for, to provide the seniors with something. And I told her, of course, that, we would put it on the agenda this evening and have that conversation. It is now, however, further complicated, by two things. Number one, which is, of course, the restroom situation, right? But also the HVAC situation at the community center. So I don't know that we can answer that question just yet, but it's here for your discussion and consideration as you move forward.
Okay, thank you. Trash collection. I have to say one thing, Linda Yancic, you do a fantastic job on the day after trash. I know you get a lot of phone calls and you communicate with the public a lot. And thank you.
Thank
very,
you.
very much.
Yes,
You're
thank
welcome.
you so much. I just wish people
ahead.
would call you. Well, not really.
They do.
Call you. I know they do. Instead of blasting out on Facebook and causing a ruckus, instead of, can you please call Borough Hall? Just
Right.
saying. But thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you.
Go ahead, John.
No, I don't have anything to add there, Your Honor. It's all covered.
We're trying. I mean, Linda is calling them that they missed, but what we're being told is that they have new drivers that don't know the route and not enough drivers.
There are a myriad of issues, and we were, in fact, just today, Tangi, and you may recall that we had sent a mailer out with one of the tax or sewer bills some time ago, and like on card stock that just told people what to do in the event that there are issues with the trash and things like that. Tangi and Linda are updating that, and we're going to include it with one of the bills going out shortly. It's critical. We don't have people out there following the trash collectors, right? The trash trucks. So it's critical that we learn about it when people call us and tell us. Putting it on Facebook later that night doesn't help us, right? Because, we need to know firsthand, if your trash has been missed, what streets, that sort of thing. Linda deserves hazard pay for everything that she goes through. You're absolutely right. It is mind-numbing, the number of calls. And I think that, Republic has used every excuse in the book, including, the dog ate my homework, why they're having the problems that they're having, right? It is ongoing. I get that drivers, that's a pandemic in and of itself, finding qualified CDL drivers. We all know that, we get that, but they never seem to get anywhere with it. At least the county, when they were, experiencing their issues with recycling, they worked through it, got it. They hired more people and got over it. You know what I mean? And they're out there doing their job, tomorrow, because, recycler the next day when recycling goes out. So Republic has had a lot of issues. It makes me another conversation, miss the days of South Jersey when we had them, the contractor before these guys. And I would say that if Republic was on this call tonight, right? So it is what it is. We're all trying our best. Ted and I are working on, the next steps, from a legal perspective.
All right, thank you. The Riverton Jetter shared service, that's an ongoing process that we are doing with Riverton. But as of right now, we don't have any shared services and we're trying to work that out. Salary Review Committee, miscellaneous issues.
One miscellaneous issue, one miscellaneous person, and she is on the call tonight with addressing both Linda and Amanda. That resolves 2 of the 3 open questions. So I'll have something for your next meeting, October 4th. And we'll go for there.
Okay. Annual NJLM Conference in Atlantic City, November 16th to 18th, 2021. Rita needs to know everyone that will be going like today or tomorrow. She needs to know so she can register everyone. Request for attendance to the annual Finance Officers Association Conference, Donna Connor, with a 3-night stay in Atlantic City, September 21st through September 24th, 2021. We have all approved that months ago. Ballot box installation. Rita?
Oh, just in case, and I couldn't get the picture off my phone, but if you just happen to ride by Borough Hall, right out in front of the building, it almost looks like it's been there forever. Right next to the staircase is the new ballot box for the elections forthcoming. It's installed, it's ready to go. We are waiting for the installation of the camera, but the box itself is all in and ready to go for election.
Thank you very much. Great job. Pedestrian signal button, Broad Street and Highland Avenue meeting update. John, you want to take that?
Yeah, we have the memorandum of record submitted, which I forwarded to everybody. We're in the midst of the 1-month comment period. I have to say, in all my years working with New Jersey Transit and the county and on these types of issues, I have never participated in a meeting that was more productive than that meeting. I know, Tim initiated it with, by reaching out to, the appropriate authorities there. Well, it worked flawlessly. They usually never even, take your call, let alone address it in the fashion that they did. And, from our end, the fire department, public works, police, our engineers involved administratively, very productive meeting, and they are going above and beyond what we originally asked for. You know what? I would also be remiss. Tim had the thought, but Ted wrote the letter, right? So Ted deserves a lot of credit here, for, contacting the appropriate person and bringing them to the table. But, so they're putting in pedestrian signals, multiple directions, improving the handicap walkways, striping the streets. There's a lot going on, not just at that one intersection on Little Broad, but on Main Broad as well. So that'll be, 21st century technology there and should make it much safer for all residents, pedestrians, and vehicular traffic as well.
That's awesome. All I have to say, though, is yes, we got a result in the way of people coming out to do that very quickly, because for the state, that was very, very quickly and quick to have that done. It might take a little bit longer to get everything done. They'd have put in the paperwork, but just please don't expect it tomorrow. It won't. I mean, they are doing what they need to do, but that just takes time. Grant opportunities. DCA Local Assistance Bureau explores potential of the fire department EMS merger shared service feasibility study.
I'm not as hopeful, Your Honor, as I was initially when DCA notified us that they were willing to assist here. We've reached out several times, and whatever's going on, perhaps they no longer have the wherewithal or technical capacity to help us with this. But I don't know that it's fitting given the ongoing discussions that you participated in, of course, with the ambulance squad about man and woman power and things of that sort, and what needs to be done there. But hopefully it's still out there if we need that, but it's probably premature given the ongoing discussions.
Okay, thank you. The time limit parking signs per ordinance.
Your Honor, before we go to that, the second grant opportunity, DVRPC, Delaware Valley Regional Planning Commission, Safe Routes to Transit, that the exact opposite result. We are working, Quan, who works for DVRPC, a member of our land use board, okay, has kind of taken, is assisting us with a potential grant opportunity initially by bringing a lot of stakeholders to the table. And what I'm talking about is a potential pedestrian crossing over the Pennsauken Creek from the Pennsauken Light Rail Station into our Route 73 South redevelopment area. Now you're talking about something that is probably going to cost well over 7 figures, right? But Quan has been very helpful, and other officials at BVRPC. Our redeveloper very interested, of course, so we're continuing to have those discussions. New Jersey Conservation Society just reached out to us, also expressed an interest in that pedestrian bridge, because they have a real interest in connecting hiking trails, etc. So there's a lot going on, and hopefully it all leads to a really cool bridge over the creek.
That's awesome.
Not unlike the bridge over the entrance to the cove in the Palmyra Cove Nature Park. So,
okay. Time limit parking signs per ordinance.
Bill touched base on this. We're working on that. It's a significant number of signs, and it's going to be quite expensive, but we have money, capital funds available for it. So we're still working on that.
And I spoke to you, I believe a week or so ago, in reference to ordering more stop signs, or not stop signs, speed limit signs. The 25 mile an hour, add it to that, because I've been receiving a lot of emails in reference to certain streets that it seems that they're being used as a raceway. But I mean, everybody should know that a residential area is 25 miles an hour, but in certain areas of town, and I think it's mainly to try to miss the train. People do go quite fast. So if we can put up the signs, maybe something might hit them that they can't go that fast.
I just wanted to interject there, because one of the conversations, Gina, that you and I had was Riverton, regardless, and I know John has directed us, I'm pretty sure, please correct me if I'm mistaken, as far as putting a stop sign in, what is required. Riverton has put in stop sign block after block. And I know the goal, whether it's quote, I don't remember the exact terminology that John used in the past, but it does act as a deterrent versus, I feel, a 25 mile an hour sign. Those signs are everywhere. Yes, people know them. Even on St. Vincent Avenue, the mile per hour does change. And my husband and I just got into argument over this over the weekend, 35 versus 30. Doesn't matter. Even 25 is awfully fast on our streets. But I really feel that the stop signs are a better deterrent than putting up the 25 mile an hour signs, in all honesty. Whether it's, and I don't know what the right word is, because I don't want to misspeak again, but they're at almost every corner in Riverton. Why can we not do the same? That would be more of a deterrent, whether it's legal or not, whether somebody can stop them or not. If somebody sees a stop sign, they're more likely to slow down than if they see a 25 mile per hour sign. And that's just my observations over the years.
And I have to say, those stop signs in Riverton took years. I mean, I know they were started when I was living there young, and there were so many kids on the road. The parents were sitting back saying, there's got to be, and the cars were flying over the dips, and saying, but I mean, I'm not a young chicken anymore. It took years.
But there were a number of them that were just done in recent years. So, because there are stop signs that are at intersections that I'm like, this wasn't here before. So I'm talking within the last 5 years, there's definitely more stop signs than had been the case before. And I would seriously weigh out the cost of that versus the 25 mile hour. I would weigh out the benefit of putting a stop sign versus a 25 mile an hour sign. I think that would behoove us to look at that.
You know what? I'll get a hold of the mayor in Riverton to see if there's a person that she's getting a hold of to get them up there faster than what, and see what she tells us.
You know what? I have to interject. Riverton may or may not be doing things the way they're supposed to.
Exactly.
You are not allowed.
I
to install
truly
the stop
believe
sign.
that. But that
You know-
would be a great question to be asked. But John,
So
I think I
DOT
concur. I think I
Yeah.
concur.
DOT just doesn't let you do that, right? Because think of, you know, forget the fact that a police, a stop sign that was just installed because we decided to install it, right, doesn't have any really enforcement capability, right?
Right.
Police officer may write a ticket for it, but it doesn't mean if it's challenged, it can't be
It's going
upheld.
to stand
right?
up. Right. And
But-
that's the part.
Forget that for 1 second. More importantly are the safety aspects, right? It's not as just, we don't just throw a stop sign on a street. I mean, think about everything that we went through. Remember, what was it, a number of years ago, we had a request from a resident over at Park and Charles Street, right? Over by Charles Street School, right? And we put up that 4-way, and even 2 of them were flashers. Remember that?
Right.
Yep.
That what we went through. Your engineer actually has to do a traffic study,
Yep.
write a report,
I remember.
and then you have to, you don't have to, but you then have to follow, if you want to install the signs, those safety recommendations, and that's all done, just to keep that intersection, safe. I mean, just having public works guys throw a stop sign up doesn't make it, that intersection, safer than it was before, right? So,
Yeah.
River
Well,
Tip-
the former chief had done that on Morgan and had come back to us with the data on that. So I like what Gina said, if she can on the DL ask,
Sure.
hey, and I hear you, but I just think that people respond to the stop sign before they're going to respond to the 25-mile-an-hour sign. They don't respond to the 35. They don't respond to the 30. They don't respond to the 25 that's on our street, alone. It's a freeway. They don't stop at the intersection, and I just watch them. So, here at Wallace and Parry. So I get it. So there's got to be, I just don't think putting money into the mile-per-hour signs is really the best use of money. Somebody else can differ from me, but.
I know I had at least 3 emails in reference to Delaware Avenue and Laconia Avenue that they feel the 25-mile-an-hour will slow people down. And that's what their requests were. Because I know what goes into trying to put a stop sign is going to cost us more engineering money, more police time to have to sit back and see how many people are coming down that street, so on and so forth. But I figured that since we already have something, the signs are being made up, add some, and let's see if it works. If it works, that's the easy out.
I have one more comment, Your Honor.
Okay.
And then I have one, John, right after.
All right. Look at everything that we just went through to put up, to pass an ordinance about time limit parking. Now, multiply that by a factor, I don't know, double digits, regarding stop signs. This is exactly why NJDOT says traffic engineer has to study that intersection and make recommendations based solely on the safety of that intersection, period. Bob Leather, we all remember Bob back when he was mayor about, 1,400 years ago, right? Bob was probably the most effective campaigner in the history of local politics, because one thing that he did was he knocked on everybody's door. Everybody wanted a stop sign. He promised them a stop sign and then sent Public Works out there a week later to throw a stop sign up. That's how we got most of our stop signs, right? Just by doing that. So, I don't know that any of those are still hanging around, but I love Bob Leather. But, the DOT, says that we have to make our decisions solely based on safety.
So, and I knew John would say that. I just didn't know what it would fall under. But if Gina, you could ask that question, I would be appreciative. Thank you.
Good evening.
ahead,
I would
Sarah.
like to make a comment. Thank you so much. I think that comes down to, you know, like aesthetics, you know, how you want your street that you, how you want the street that you live on to look. And when you're talking the difference between stop signs and, you know, 25 miles per hour or whatever that is, that takes away from that small town feel. So, I mean, for me, I would want to cast my vote on that. So, and I'm speaking about the people on the streets that live there. Like you said, you got three emails.
Mhm.
If it's 7 houses on that street, I would just send out a quick note saying, hey, you know, some of your neighbors is, you know, asking for this to be placed on your street. Are you in agreement with that? Or whatever. And if they are, then put it there. I mean, I feel like that's the difference between a stop sign. I don't know where you was going exactly, Bernadette, but I heard that just stop signs just look more friendly to a small town.
I think, no, I don't think that's what Bernadette was going in a way of, she was saying that people are looking at the 25-mile-an-hour stop sign, but not caring how fast they're going. I'm seeing the sign and I really don't care how fast I'm going. Where a stop sign, people are more than likely to stop.
Oh, it registers with them before the mile per hour. I mean, if you just think driving on, I don't know, 295, whatever the speed limit is. Chief, can you just turn me off for a second? No, but people go faster than the actual speed limit generally. So I don't know that having the mile per hour up there is necessarily a positive deterrent. Again, this is my perspective based on conversations that I've had with some local peeps about how they fly through, you know, the different streets coming either from Riverton through Palmyra, because again, I think somebody had mentioned the train, or Gina may have.
Yeah,
That
I
is
have.
absolutely is the case, because they will turn on either Spring Garden or on Wallace if they see the gates go down at
Highland.
Cinnaminson or Cinnaminson is the big one that I see. And it's just really problematic. And if there's a stop sign, it will at least slow them down. So that's all I'm saying.
Okay, thank you. Is that good for you, Farah?
Yes, it is. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. You're welcome. The police department flood repairs update, Chief.
Yeah, I'm here. Good evening.
Okay. Good evening.
We have a plan in place with Harry Fox. I believe John's already been made aware of it, to get the ball rolling on getting us back together so we can basically put our home back together and the walls back up and stuff like that. So there is a plan in place. Harry's going to supply reports to the borough and we'll go forward from there. So.
Okay, thank you. The state issues, block 152, lot 9.02, qualifiers C 520B.
Ted, this refers to the memo that you sent regarding the death of a homeowner, and you had questions about fees that may be owed.
Yes.
And you asked that it be put on the agenda for discussion, but I'm not really sure. We had provided, Tangi provided some information about back taxes, things of that sort. I don't know that there's anything else that we can do there.
There is nothing else we can do.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Accessories, summer hours.
Your Honor, we could probably talk about this offline. You know, when we had originally had intended to put this on there, you know, we were still open to the public and, you know, debating about how to proceed. But what I would like to do, with your permission, is just have a conversation with you, you know, when you're available.
Okay.
You know.
All right.
Just to kind of plan out what we have in mind there.
Okay. Accessories, structures / cargo container zoning lane development ordinance amendments.
We just had a fairly contentious application in front of the land use board regarding a cargo container that a resident was proposing to use as a storage shed, which he referred to it as numerous times. It was a cargo container. Our ordinance does not prohibit cargo containers. That application in front of the land use board really hinged on the number of accessory structures that are permitted on any property. So, it's my strong recommendation that we do a couple of things here. Number one, prohibit cargo containers because they are just flat out unsightly, period, right? And they have no business being in a residential neighborhood, my personal opinion. So I think that the governing body should strongly consider that and make it clear in our land development code that is your position. Number two, the accessory structure provisions in the land development code, which go hand in hand what I'm talking about here, really need to be updated because accessory structures should be what we think they are, like a pool, for instance, or a shed, those sort of things. But listed in our ordinance, we also have things like, the air conditioner condenser, which is outside, and fences and things of that sort. So Tracy, working with Jim Winkowski, have been talking about updating this section of our land development code. And I would suggest throwing the cargo containers in there in that discussion. So with your permission, we'd like to proceed amending the code to clarify accessory structures, but also prepare language that prohibits the cargo containers.
Everybody understand what was being said?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I thought you might.
All right.
Yes,
Thank
I
you.
understood that. I have one question, John. And if that is put into place where they could have no cargo thing, what would be the turnaround time for that to be removed?
Well, that's an excellent question because I'll explain it this way. The land use board denied that the resident's application for approval of the cargo container as a storage shed, right? Tracy, acting in her capacity as zoning officer, then gave that resident about 10 days to remove that cargo container from the property. That resident responded by saying, we're in communication with our attorney. So I think the direct answer to you is, we want to give, residents a reasonable amount of time to correct the deficiency, right? Which is nothing more than having that cargo container removed in this case. But in this particular incident, it appears that the resident is not complying with that decision of the land use board, may be hiring an attorney to fight it. But there is a scheduled court date for later this month. So, who knows at this point?
Thank you.
Okay.
I have a quick question. At this time, are there residents out there right now that have that in their backyard? And how did they get it?
I don't know.
It's unsightly. I agree with what we're all saying. So, but I feel like there are residents out there that have them.
There was one on Parry, but that's not there. Hasn't been there for at least the last 2 weeks. It had been there for easily the last year.
Mm-hmm.
And it was being used to collect items to send back home. That's what its use was. So I don't know the reason why it's not there. I haven't seen them to ask them. But it was very unsightly.
I feel like I've seen one on Park Avenue. I haven't been that way in a while, but there used to be one on Park Avenue, almost like a permanent fixture in the backyard.
Right now, we don't prohibit them. So a resident, they're not prohibited, right? So
Okay.
the action that was taken by the land use board was really under the purview of the accessory structure limitations, right?
I
That
see.
particular homeowner
Gotcha.
already had a couple of sheds, so this
Okay.
additional structure, cargo container, then exceeded the number of permitted accessory structures, right? So
Okay.
that's why this particular case, came in front of the land use board. But what we're suggesting, or what I'm suggesting now, is just to ban them outright, right?
Thank you.
So
Yes,
then
thank
one
you.
would be permitted to have them.
Okay, so we'll take a look at that, and yes, totally agree.
Right. Okay, the tax sale, Tangi had her first online tax sale. Can you unmute, Tangi? Are you there?
Yep, I'm here. Can you hear me?
And great job, well done.
you.
She held it last Tuesday. And you want to say a couple things, Tangi?
Everything turned out good. Nothing was sold to the municipality, and that's one of the things that usually happen when we have vacant land on. We got the same amount of premiums, and we didn't have to charge our residents anymore to hold the online tax sale. And the amount of costs we collected paid for the online company. So it worked out good.
Well, thank you so much for everything.
Oh, you're welcome.
Okay, the painting Palmyra on the metal arch. That's several other emails I've been receiving in the past couple of weeks. That people believe that the Palmyra does not stand out. And I know we talked about this. I don't know where everybody stands. But at least two of the residents thought that it should be painted a different color. Okay, I see Michelle McCann say no.
Nope. I
Laura,
agree.
no.
No.
Bernadette, no.
Nope.
About Brandon.
No opinion.
Okay, Farah.
Well, I don't know for sure if I think it should be painted, but I do think we need to do something to make it stand out. I do agree with that. I mean, even during the holidays, I was trying to get them to put some lights over there, or even having something like that permanently, around, around the arch or whatever. It's just welcoming.
I don't think it's the arch that they were worried about. It was the Palmyra in the arch.
Exactly. But because of the material that it's made out of, it would be difficult to light it up.
I don't think so. It's just, it's metal. It would be very easy to
then
paint.
I agree with the tenants. I mean, with the families, the people, whoever.
Okay, so four people said no. So
should be painted or something as well.
Oh, you do? You think that it should be painted?
Yes, I would want it
Well,
to
everybody
stand
else
out.
is saying no.
I would want it to stand out.
I love the idea of maybe putting more lights around it, or
something to make it stand out.
I just I don't agree with painting it. I think it would not look right.
Okay.
I think it would detract from what the original thought was from this arch. If that was something that we wanted, it should have been in the original plan, and I've been against that from the beginning. I just love how the light hits it. That's just my opinion. But I also love what Farah said, because at Christmas with that light up, the holiday time, it's magnificent. And that's key. As long as we know it's here, and even if it was lit up year round, maybe that's something we would want to look at, because the reflections off of that sign, like at dawn and at dusk, it's beautiful.
I guess maybe I'm being practical, but painting it requires repainting it. And so there's a maintenance issue there.
Absolutely.
And I like it the way that it is, but the only reason I don't think it should be painted is because that means repainting it every time, it gets looking a little bad.
Okay, thank you so much. I will write back to residents. The volleyball net and the bocce court. I don't know if everybody realizes We have a volleyball court, not court, but a pit, and behind the community center. We also have a bocce court behind the community center. Now, I would love to make sure that, I mean, I think it just needs to be tilled to bring the sand back up, but to make sure that the residents know if they want to play volleyball, they can go down there to put up the net. It's outside. And if you guys are, I mean, it shouldn't be. I would just love to try to start using a little bit of what we have within the town for their uses. So I brought that up to John, and John said, we will bring it up at council. Would it be okay to get Public Works over there to freshen up the bocce and the volleyball? Yes, and we do have a net, correct, John?
We do, Your Honor.
Yes, can we put that up too, please?
Absolutely.
Thank you. And we will make sure that people know that it's there for their use. Now it's your report, John.
Mine mostly, we have a lot of open positions. We've never really been in this position before. We have a technical assistant to the construction official, code enforcement officer positions. We have a vacancy on Public Works, and we're, trying to hire a part-time seasonal cleaner, for the Legion Field restrooms. So all of those ads are on our website. We've also, depending on the position, advertised in other locations, either the BCT or the New Jersey League of Municipality website, those sorts of things. So, just want to get the word out that we have these opportunities, and we'll be interviewing soon.
Okay. Thank you. And all of the others are just reminders. One of these things is the purchase orders. I went in, since Donna has a conference for the rest of the week, she needed the purchase orders signed. So I went in and signed them all. So guys, you don't have to go in this time, but we need to make sure we're reading our emails. So when those purchase orders need to be signed. And I know that came across, I think, last Wednesday or Thursday to try to get in there. But everybody's is done. We're all clear for this month. So hopefully we can do a little bit better for next month, because I didn't want her going to the conference, leaving that undone. All right, mayor and council reports and comments. Anything, well, do we have any high school kids or high school representatives on?
No, neither of them were able to make it tonight, but I am going to ask Rita if she can put that back on the agenda for starting next meeting. I know we took them off for the last few weeks of summer.
I did forward them the agenda.
Okay, thank you.
Right. Yeah, I just wanted, before they were on the agenda as a little earlier in the agenda to give their reports.
Got it.
All right. Thank you. So Michelle, do you have anything?
We met for committee or comments.
Anything you want to tell us?
Okay, so Brandon, myself, and Tim met last Thursday, and we talked about, the various things happening. We talked a lot about many of the items tonight. One of them was the ordinance, and that was emailed tonight, I believe, from Rita. I did my first read. I got to go through it one more time. There was concern about Public Works, and we are down staff. And I know there are issues around town pertaining to the dog park. Bernadette mentioned just, upkeep of the areas that are of concern. But again, I know we are down staff. So Tim was going to talk to Ernie about some of those issues. And I do have comments. I wrote down some positive Palmyra press comments, I like to say, just to get some positive things out there, if that's okay.
Sure.
Should I do that right now?
Sure.
Okay. So I just wanted to, I know Public Works is down, but I do see them out early in the mornings. I don't know if I think their shift starts at 7, but they're out before 7 o'clock, cleaning things, getting brush out of the way. They're down by the river. So I just wanted to give them a shout out. I'd like to shout out Dominic Belton for being on the Palmyra Fire Department. That's awesome. He's a senior. That is such great news, seeing high schoolers doing that. I also am looking forward to the October 2nd Beer Fest at the Firehouse. So I wonder if anyone else is, but I see signs all around town. I know a lot of people are headed to that event. I know the ladies of the fire station are also starting their hoagie sales, which is every other Wednesday, and they're really good. So it's been since COVID, so they haven't been selling hoagies for, it's been almost 2 years. So they're back. The auxiliary are selling hoagies every other Wednesday, and this Wednesday they'll be selling them.
Right.
And also I just wanted to thank Chief Dreby for all of his emails about COVID and his updates from the county, that I do read them. I don't always reply like thanks or anything, but they are very helpful as a teacher too, just to see, and as a council member and concerned resident. And I just wanted to say one more thing. The Palmyra High School varsity team is doing really well. As of the weekend, they were ranked 2nd in the state for our division. So we're 5-1. We lost our game tonight. So, but we have many, many more games that we're going to win.
And that's soccer, correct?
Yeah, soccer varsity. Yes, soccer boys varsity.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Farah?
I just want to say, shout out to Michelle. Michelle, that was amazing. We're going to have to make that a regular thing around here. That was a nice bit of sugar to go out the door with. So thank you for that. And it was really good seeing you all.
Laura?
I guess while we're on the theme of shout outs, I wanted to give a shout out to Bernadette for organizing the townwide yard sale. It was really fantastic. We had a continuous stream of folks coming to see us on Cinnaminson Avenue, and met lots of our neighbors. It was a really fantastic day, and the weather cooperated. So thank you, Bernadette, for getting us organized.
Great.
That thank you goes, like I said, to Tangi, to
pass it along.
Great. So I do. That's why I told them I was doing a public one tonight, and Linda and Moon. So it takes a village.
Else then too.
Takes a village. So thank you for that. That's very sweet. I have no other comment. I said all I needed to say.
All right, thank you, Brandon.
Just want to remind if there's any high school parents out there of juniors that are listening, that the guidelines for the student reps and the application is on the Palmyra High School website under the backpack. The backpack area of their website. I'm going to write something up for John to post it on our website so we can direct everything over there. Hope we get a bunch of applications for juniors this year.
That would be great. Thank you, and thanks for everything you do with them. Well, I hate to do this, but I do have a list here. Chief, I need to see when the S1 officers will be able to be I'm going to say deployed, but it put into town.
Okay. Yeah, they have just a couple hours of training to do, and by a couple I mean like 2 or 3 hours left. So it's really not much. But they're outfitted, they're ready to go. So
okay.
Wherever,
we had
if you have a
situation down at the Legion this weekend that I think if the presence of a police officer would have been down there, I think a lot of it, I mean, it wasn't anybody getting hurt or whatever, but I think it would have tamed some things down. So I can't wait for them to get up and running. There's also a link for the school cases that I believe John's putting onto our website, but you can go on to the Board of Education of Palmyra, and it will tell you it's updated on Fridays. And at that point, you will see how many cases were in the schools, what schools, and how many people are quarantined because of those cases. Some people really wanted that information. In August, the beginning of August, middle of August, I sent to council in reference to the LNG plant in Gibbstown. I don't know if you guys remember that, but it's liquefied natural gas. It's a plant that they're setting up in Gibbstown. I have been contacted quite a few times from a gentleman who is asking for the towns surrounding, even though Gibbstown is down the river, but towns surrounding to put into a resolutions to say, no, we don't want this. I mean, he wanted me to say, I'm like, I can't say that, it's got to be council. He would like to come and speak to council. So John or Rita, can we put him onto an agenda for October 4th? And I'll tell him a certain amount of time that he has, but if anybody has some questions, please have them ready for him then. If you need me to send back out the information that was sent to me, I can do that also. Please let me know, because we're coming down to a wire that it needs to be done. And I mean, he was giving us to the end of the year, but I'd like to have it off our plate, just like we try to do it early.
Sorry, Gina, I'm sorry. Was there an expectation from us? I know you sent us the information, but was there an expectation from us to, I don't know.
He wants us to develop a resolution to state that we don't want it.
No, I meant, that part I understand, but prior from yourself, was there an expectation?
Well,
We were just to read it. We were just to
read it, and
educate
if you
us.
had any
Okay.
questions to come back, I have put him off a little bit, saying we have been crowded because of the holiday, and the end of August was very busy for the month, but he needs to come and speak his piece, and answer any questions that you have. And at that point, we can decide whether or not we would like to do a resolution, because that's up to you, if you guys would like to do a resolution to allow it or not. But I think the last thing that we saw, that the truck routes were not going through Palmyra, but it is along the river.
Right.
So you have to, I would love for you guys to reread it, or I believe there is a video to it. Please watch it. If you have any questions, please have them with you in hand so you can ask him anything. I mean, he's the expert on it. Any questions in reference to that? I reminded again, the flu clinic is October 14th at the community center, free flu shots. And
You know what time?
Bernadette, I did call Comcast. I'm still waiting for a call back.
Okay.
I've tried them twice.
Sorry, I keep hitting the wrong thing. I didn't know who you were reaching out to, so we can talk on the side, because I
Okay.
have.
I have quite a few names that
Okay.
I have been leaving messages for.
Okay, because I also have contacts from when I used to work there, so I'm just a
Yeah,
thought. So.
I wound up digging up some really good names.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
I was just asking, so.
All right, thank you. All right, that's all I have. And at that point, do we have anything for closed session?
Not that I'm aware of, nothing that Ted and I need to share with you or discuss, only if you had questions, but I think we provided everything we know via email.
Okay. Thank you. Then may I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved. To adjourn our meeting.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much, guys. Stay safe.
Good
Thank
night.
you. Good night, everyone.
Bye.
Thanks,
Good night.
Good night, all.
Good night. Thank you.